Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have Scorpio as your midheaven in your natal chart. Your midheaven is the cusp of the 10th house of career, whatever sign is on that cusp, and there may be more than one sign in your 10th house. So you have to keep that in mind, but the cusp sign is your midheaven, and you will see it labeled MC in the probably most of the chart generators will shorten it for the Latin term. And your midheaven, because it is on the cusp of the 10th house, is going to be connected to career. The 10th house is career, and your reputation, your public standing, if you will. Now, I was thinking about the word reputation because I remember in high school, and it was only the girls who got this label of like having a bad reputation, right? Because I was thinking, can you have a reputation your whole life? Can you have a reputation when you're 10 years old? And I do think, because I was kind of wrestling with the idea of, like, what is the difference between the ascendant and the midheaven? Because both seem to be how other people view us. But actually what I decided is that the ascendant is how we present ourselves, and it is more us. The 10th house is more other people's impressions of us based upon our accomplishments. And we can't totally divorce ourselves identity-wise from the 10th house, because your career will tend to be very much reflecting your passions in life. I mean, of course, they say a lot of people aren't doing the things that they really want to do career-wise, but there will probably be some connection to the kind of things that you want to do, and or that you have some interest in and that you are very good at. So, and actually, I would say that in a lot of cases that might be true, because the 6th house is work. It could be like a job. So somebody just wants to make money and they're going to take any job that they can get. But when you go into a career, there's probably more planning and therefore passion with it. So when somebody has Scorpio as their midheaven, how are people going to perceive you? Well, we have to talk about, what is Scorpio all about? Scorpio is a very mysterious sign, and Scorpio people, I'll say, even though, this is the midheaven, like to keep it that way. They like that sort of aura of mystery around them. And so, yeah, and the term that is also used is your public image. And so there are certain professions where you are going to cultivate that public image. So the main one that comes to mind is show business. So anybody who is in, and I'm talking about something where it would be seen by the masses, not necessarily somebody in the theater, but somebody who is maybe on TV, in the tabloids, and things like that. So because the 10th house is connected to career, one of the words that comes to mind is power when we think of the 10th house. How much power can you exert on the world? And the Scorpio midheaven will be seen as powerful. Obviously, I have to say that word intense, because that is another characteristic that you often see with Scorpio, prominent Scorpio positions, is this sense of intensity. And so basically, what that means is that the person comes across, and this will be likely connected to what it is that they're doing, of course, not just their basic personality, but what it is that they're doing, as somebody who is very deep. They're not shallow, they're not surface, they're not superficial. Personal magnetism is another thing that they will, people with a Scorpio midheaven give off. And this can be very, I think it can be very alluring for people, but it can also, I think it can be intimidating in certain circumstances where the person, like you, if you're listening for yourself, where you are seen as powerful, but almost like intimidating because of that power. In terms of career, you're the type of person, I think of Scorpio as an extreme sign, as an all or nothing kind of a sign. And this is true if you have the moon in Scorpio, the sun in Scorpio, whatever, and the midheaven. It's all or nothing. Either you're in or you're out. There's not that middle ground. So I would say for somebody who has this midheaven that chances are you're not going to be able to just exist in a career for very long that doesn't generate passion within you. Remember too that Scorpio is a water sign, and it's also a fixed water sign, and I think that can create obsessive tendencies, but that the fact that it's water means that it's connected to the emotions. So you need something that, gives you that sense of passion in what it is that you're doing, or you'd rather just call it a day. One of the things that they talk about with the midheaven is legacy. Like they say, how you will be remembered when you're gone. And so anything that is that public image, and it can be down to the type of clothing you wear for your career, if it differs from your regular, I mean, of course, I was going to say your regular wardrobe, but of course, a lot of people, they have work clothes versus the clothes that they wear for leisure time. But if you have cultivated a certain professional image, with the Scorpio midheaven, and this could be something, if you're not doing this because you're kind of more focused on your ascendant and what that represents, or maybe your sun sign, is that the colors of Scorpio are black for sure, but also this maroon, or you could say it's like a burgundy type of a color, which is a dark red. Colors, and maybe that could even be if you have some kind of product or logo or something like that. Anything like, and part of that brand, if you're doing something that it conveys a sense of mystery, a brooding kind of like aesthetic. I don't know how, something with those dark colors and maybe images that are gothic. I could see something with that, and the gothic lettering. The type of careers that you may really be drawn to could be in anything to do with the field of death. And of course, I was going to say like somebody who's whatever in the mortuary sciences or whatever, but also if you are a hospice nurse, that could be something that is very appealing to you or fulfilling to you, where you're close to people at that moment of death. And if you are a writer, if you are in the media field of journalism, then the investigative reporter, the one who is not taking the cover story, but they're going to kind of dig deep and find the true story buried under all of the lies. Psychotherapy is another big one for this midheaven. And of course, even within that, that's like an overhead thing. I mean, there could be different types of healing that has to do with the mind or the emotions. And for instance, let's say that you are an artist, you might decide to be an art therapist or something along those lines. But healing in general, this definitely, Pluto is one of the rulers of Scorpio along with Mars, and Pluto can be connected to healing in particular. You're not afraid of what you uncover, like at a deep level. So actually that's what fascinates you, that seedy underbelly of life. So anything, whether it is like trying to get at the truth and report it to others and expose scandals and things like that, or your analytical ability to kind of break down, understand what makes people tick, and also to help them understand themselves and deal with some very, in some cases, taboo subjects that people may be wrestling with. This can give you a public reputation and legacy where people see you as somebody who didn't shy away from difficult issues, and that you were a profound thinker and someone who exuded power. So yeah, it's one of those midheavens that I think really makes a strong impression. And there are so many other fields that a person might go into who has Scorpio at the midheaven. I mean, you might want to be in acting. Obviously, any of the arts you might also excel in, as well as being a great salesperson, advertise person, because you can get into the mind of the consumer, and you can also probably, like if you were doing commercials, that you'd be able to do things that would have a real power. But that also goes for like a filmmaker, somebody who makes documentaries. It's all about grabbing people emotionally when you're doing that kind of work. Okay, I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.